Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, we're going down a road less traveled with chronographs. And uh, what happened was this. I saw this Chopard Imperiale chronograph, and I didn't know anything about it. It was interesting. It has bar lugs at the bottom and top of it. A bar lug, by the way, this is what a bar lug looks like. It's just a little thing down here with a bar running through it, and it's called bar lugs. But the interesting thing is that it had a Friedrich Piguet caliber 1185. Oh, that's pretty interesting. So I wanted to find out about that caliber. It was developed in 1987 as an 1180, and then they decided, well, we're going to make a chronograph almost near pretty much the same year. And so you have a watch from 1987, or movement from 1987, with a movement that I really didn't know anything about. Okay, that's me, not everybody. It's got 42 hours charge in it. It's got 3 hertz, which I really like. It has date, chronograph, column wheel, hours, minutes, and small seconds. Now this one has the window for the date at 4:30, and the other things are pretty standard for a chronograph. And they got the 3 sub dials and so forth. The thing about this that I found interesting was how many different watches it was used on as a base. The MSRP of this particular one was $85.70, but I found it for $42.95. This is brand new price. So I thought, this is an interesting watch. It's interesting in a lot of different ways. So I thought, well, let's see what else they got. And by the way, too, the caliber of this is my Vacheron Constantin, 1972. It has a caliber VC 1055, but in fact, it's a Friedrich Piguet 6.10. Okay, so it's Friedrich Piguet Day, I guess. All right, so let's take a look at another watch. Now, this watch really surprised me, and it shouldn't have. Okay, here's why. Blancpain 50 Fathoms. It's got a chronograph flyback on it. Name of the caliber is F185. That's the Blancpain name, and the base is Friedrich Piguet 1185. And again, here you have a 3 hertz watch, nice, calm, sensible frequency to it. And it's got a pretty standard, when you look at the dial on it, the 3 sub dials for the chronograph. The MSRP is $17,800, and the offer that I found for the best deal I could find on it was $12.80, $460. This is new. This is for a new one. And I've always liked the 50 Fathoms, but I never realized that it had a base of that. They have a new one, by the way, for something called a Bath Escape version of the 50 Fathoms, and it's 5 hertz. The F385, I don't think is related at all to the Friedrich Piguet 1185. What it is that I think they decided that, like Zenith, they wanted something little snappier. Okay, so they came up with that. To me, it's like, the faster you have it, the more you're going to move everything around, and I always compare it to like beating a rented mule. So I prefer the 1185 base rather than the newer 385. That's me, though. I know it's not a lot of people. Okay, Blancpain L Evolution Chronograph Flyback Grand Date R. Okay, this one is a little bigger. This is a big boy, 43.5 millimeters. It's got a titanium base, steel bezel, and it has on the dial in this particular one, it looks like a carbon-based bezel, and the same thing on the rotor on the back. And so if you look at, this is another caliber name. It's called the 68 F5, and the base again is the Friedrich Piguet 1185. Now, again, these things are pretty expensive. The MSRP on this was 18,600. The street price was around, I could found one was 13,764. That's about a $5,000 dip on that, but still, this is basically the same movement being used again and again. All right, now, like I said, Blancpain, you have to understand, at one time, Friedrich Piguet owned Blancpain. They were both bought by Swatch, and Friedrich Piguet movements became Blancpain movements. All right, and so in the organization of Swatch, Blancpain and Friedrich Piguet movements, or some base of them, are pretty well married. Now, there are exceptions in that that 5 hertz zoomy version and the Bathyscape is one of them. At least to me it is. Okay. All right, so let's go take a look at some more of these. Now, here is something that was really interesting. Vacheron Constantin in 2002 came out with a watch called the Royal Eagle, and somehow they thought it would complement or go with or do something with the Overseas, which is pretty much of a total sports watch, and this is what they came up with. Now, this particular model of the 1972 was from 1999, and this particular one was made in 2000. So it's really from around the same era. They both have a Friedrich Piguet base in it. Vacheron Constantin calls it the 1137. They have the date up at 3 o'clock. The other ones, one at 4:30, one at 2 at 6 o'clock, and now I have one at 12 o'clock. And not a problem, because as we'll see in a second, that the wheel for the date just sort of goes around, and you can put it anywhere where you got some space. They figured that it would be good up at the top. I agree. I like that. You got the 3 subdials for your chronograph, which is pretty typical, and then you have your date is out of the way. It's all done. So this is another version of the same one. The street prices start around $7,000, which is a pretty good deal, really, for a Vacheron Constantin. Okay, now this last one is one, how do I say this? I like Royal Oaks, but I am not a fan. Okay, now here's the difference. A fan of a watch, there's certain watches I am a fan of. I like the Royal Oak. In fact, I put a offer in, and I put in the same offer for a Royal Oak and an Overseas. The Overseas guys took it, and a Royal Oak didn't, so I ended up with a Overseas, which I like very much too. But this one I like. I mean, it's a classic Royal Oak look that I like. I like the simple ones, the first ones. And you can see what they call the AP 2385. That's their caliber. But again, it has a base of the Friedrich Piguet 1185. The interesting thing about this, that's 41 millimeters, pretty good size, not huge, but not not like wearing a Frisbee. Now, the MSRP on this one was 26,800. This is right from Audemars Piguet. When I went to look at what it was on the used prices or pre-owned prices, they all started around $30,000. So I guess this guy was pretty popular. And what's even more ironic is that it's got Friedrich Piguet base to it, which I think is sort of cool. Okay, well, listen, this is a road less traveled for chronographs, and I'd like to hear what your opinions are. You may tell me, well, everybody likes them and everybody knows about them except me, and that may be true. So let's hear what you have to say. As always, this is an invitation to subscribe if you like, and until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the Art and Science of Watch Collection.